Pulling that lens off. No. Wait for it to adjust. Bam. Banging white hair, my friends. The perks of vitiligo. It's white. It's not gray. Vitiligo. Oh. Anyway. This is a re-upload. Breaking Bad Season 3, Episode 8, titled I See You. The majority of this episode is spent in the hospital. After a great shootout. First impression of it, I thought it was a great shootout. Now, after hindsight of nitpicking it, could have been done better. But it was still a great shootout. The fact that the brother-in-law is able to survive is like, because when I watched the episode, I think it was a couple episodes back, when I first realized that they are going to kill off the brother-in-law character. I'm thinking like, nah, man, you can't kill him off, man. He's a good character. Why are they killing off a good character like the brother-in-law? I can't believe it. And I guess when his judgment date came, or chickens came to roost, or whatever southern saying you want to put towards it, I was surprised that he made it out. I mean, he got shot up several times, but I will say this: the shootout and the incident itself plays to the mastery of this series, because they tied in an earlier scene with this scene. Now, the earlier scene is the two assassins that are coming to kill him. They're going to purchase bulletproof vests. Now, the way law enforcement works, and I'm pretty sure military works the same way, they operate off muscle memory. What that means is they train to shoot. They're trained to pull a weapon, shoot a weapon, clear jams and dud rounds and misfires and things of that nature. They train for every scenario, but they train from the neck to the waist. So they train to shoot center mass. Now, with these two assassins knowing that, they get a bulletproof vest to increase their odds of survival. So when they engage him, his muscle memory is going to kick in. He's going to aim and shoot at their chest, which turns out he did. When he was given a firearm, he emptied, like, I think 7 or 8 rounds. I didn't count. Something like half a magazine with the capacity of that particular firearm into one of the guy's chest, and he's like, it didn't do anything. Now it's out. So that's where it comes into play. And when they go and get the vest, they're talking to this gentleman who's just, oh man, he's a colorful person. He's full of personality. They wind up shooting him in the chest because he mentions or shows him that he's wearing the same vest that he's selling to him. And now, of course, you'll survive a lot of times, depending on the caliber, when you get shot in wearing a bulletproof vest, but it stops the bullet from penetrating. It doesn't mean it necessarily stops the force. So it will break bones behind the shot. He's something, he broke my rib or something like that. But before any of that ever happens, he winds up giving one of the assassins like a special bullet. It's designed. The projectile in this bullet is designed to, when it hits a target, it disperses inside the target, or shortly after impact. It's not like, I guess ball ammunition would be the maybe I'm getting it wrong. But this other type of ammunition, that projectile goes straight through. And again, it adds to the mastery of this series, because after all that happened, Hank is sitting on the ground and he has several rounds in him. He's basically bleeding out at this point. The assassin has the opportunity to take him out fully, but movie magic, he decides, and of course coincidence, he decides to go get this axe that I've ranted about before. It's like it's more of a decorative piece. It's something that most likely is given to a firefighter on his retirement day or something like that. It's like highly polished piece of stainless steel with silver axe head, which I mean it still is a metal, but it's a softer metal. And he goes and gets this axe because he decides, well, I don't want to shoot you, it's too easy. I want to chop you up or whatever. I'm gonna hack you to death. I want you to suffer. So he goes and gets that. But that round that was given to him by the guy who sold them the bulletproof vest falls out of his pocket at the beginning of the shootout. After Hank takes one guy out, basically we find out later decapitates, well not decapitates, but crushes his legs from the knees down. His gun falls. That particular assassin's gun falls through the back of Hank's window. That's what gives him the gun in the first place. But he empties the remaining rounds in that firearm into the other assassin's chest because of muscle memory, and the assassin shoots him. He falls to the ground. But that round that I'm talking about from the beginning, the special round, is laying right next to him, and it just so happens to be the same caliber as that firearm. So the slides all the way back on this firearm. He's able to take that round. They build a lot of tension by him trying to put it in there with bloody fingers. He puts it into there, charges the weapon. When the guy comes up and lifts the axe up in a dramatic form to chop him up, boom, right to the guy's head, right to his forehead. And the placement of the camera is right behind the assassin's head, so you get to see all the splatter. Now, I'm not a glutton for goriness, okay? But it's the placement of the camera, it's the little things. The placement of the camera and something that was described earlier in the episode, then to be played out like visually later on in the episode. There's so many tie-ins. It just adds to the mastery. Now, I don't know if this was actually in this episode, or maybe this was in the last episode. I just had to say it again. But that whole thing I was just talking about, I don't know if that was in this episode or last episode. I can't remember. But I do remember for sure in this episode, his wife. Now, as an actress, I have to give her a round of applause, man. I'm clapping up. I'm one hand clap or whatever. She's a good actress. She brings out so much raw emotion for this scene. Her husband's in there, and you don't know if he's gonna live or die. She starts finding all these things about, he took his gun and his badge away, he couldn't protect himself, and he shouldn't have been involved in this because of you, and you need to get out of here. And she's attacking everybody. It's beautifully done, though. I really like her acting in that scene. So much raw emotion. You really feel for her character. Junior doesn't say much in this episode. I think what role? I know what Pinkman plays. I don't know what role Pinkman plays in this. Pinkman comes back into the picture by threatening Mr. White that he's going to tell the police about him. Just, again, I'm not a glutton for gore, but you need to kill Pinkman at this point. He's proved useless, but for some reason, Mr. White decides to bring him back on and lose the best partner he could ever have. It makes no sense. On paper, it makes no sense, and logically, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. But it just goes to show you, I guess they're doing that in order to build or cement this softy appearance, or this hardcore or not built for this type of attitude that comes from that exudes from Mr. White. These are big words, but I don't see it. Doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it's of course it's done to tie into the rest of the series in order to continue to make episodes. Maybe that's the reason they did that. I mean, or to have people talk about it. And people are talking about it, they still want to watch it. So I guess I understand why it was made, but I don't like it. That's fair enough to say that. Trying to go to happens episode. Oh yeah, there's a cheesy moment when Mr. White is introduced. Mr. White is given a chance to see the assassin that's still alive, and this assassin wakes up in the bed and pulls all his cords off and falls off the bed and starts dragging himself towards Mr. White. Now, I haven't had any experience with people who are amputees. I don't know what the process is. I know that it's technically still an open wound. But as he's dragging himself, he's like losing a lot of blood out of his limbs in order to get to Mr. White. It's like, doesn't make any sense. And the coloring of the blood looks like sweet and sour sauce. Yeah, okay. I don't know. What else happened in this episode? Oh, I think I forgot one of the biggest parts. You get to see the power play that Gustavo, that is Mr. White's employer, you get to see the power play come into motion that he has you get to see it start. You'll understand it. I won't understand it at this point, but you get to see, okay, he really did orchestrate this whole thing. He got those two assassins to go after a DEA agent, which in turn put a lot of heat on one of his partners or rivals or frenemy, if you will. You get to see that, and you just know Gustavo is a one smart dude. And actually has an interaction with Mr. White, and Mr. White is like frazzled, really frazzled. But this Gustavo character, of course, is on point. He has to reel Mr. White back in when they're at this meeting, because he's already donating to the police and things of that nature, trying to be a pillar of the community, if you will. And he turns around and decides to donate free food to all the officers there waiting to see the outcome of the brother-in-law. And that's where him and Mr. White meet, and everything is pretty much like calmed down, smoothed over. Like, yeah, no big deal. Just we should get my product, right? It's a really good episode. Can't wait to the next one, which I should be watching soon.